Hello everyone, welcome to this week's glass making video. I'm going to show you how to make some fused glass Christmas ornaments. I'm going to use Jack's Christmas ornaments as an example. Jack made these last week. He is a year 5 boy, he's got a little bit of experience in glass, but he made these at home last week. And they are absolutely beautiful. A little snowman, ready for the kiln. And I just thought I would make a video to show everybody his work, and before I put them in the kiln, and also to show people how they could make a piece of work inspired by these. So well done, Jack. I'm really impressed. Especially with this one. I think this one's the cutest at the minute. Oops, I'll have to sort that out. That's just the ring that goes on top. So, I have this box here. There we go. I'll open the box, and we've got some design ideas drawn out. We've got a Father Christmas, a Santa, a penguin and a snowman. We have got a materials and equipment list, and we have some packages. We have a Santa package, a snowman and a penguin package. We also have a little handy pot, a glue spreader and a pencil. Now the pencil is not for drawing with, it's for just moving the materials around with, and a little bag of glass fascinators, little bits and pieces. So how do we make them? I'm just going to put this box aside. I do like to work on a board, so I'll just move these off here. Find a board is really helpful in keeping organised. This is just a regular kitchen board. I've turned it over and I've covered it for a little bit of protection with a sheet of white paper, just the Value brand. So I think I'm going to start off exploring the penguin pack. So these are the materials in here. Okay, so we've got a piece of clear glass. Now, we've got some black frit. I've got red there, but it can be any coloured frit. And we've got some white frit as well, she says. There we go. So we've got our frits. Now we need to identify our eyes, our little square eyes, our carrot, and there's just some other spare pieces there. We've got a spatula, some PVA, and a little pot, and we've got that there. So we've got what we need. You'll notice that I have labelled the base glass with the word back. So turn it over so that's back to front, and the little brass ring is underneath, like so. Okay, so I'm just going to lay my materials there. And I'm just going to take the design idea sheet and lay it down as well. Now, regarding the design idea sheet, it is for inspiration. It is not a set of rules. It's there to be of assistance. But I'm just going to lay it on top of the penguin. And I find that it's helpful to have a template because it helps me to work out the size of things. Now, if you wanted to, you could take a Sharpie and just draw on where you're going to separate the areas. So the Sharpie does burn off, but I'm going to draw it on the back actually. So it's just a little bit easier. So I'm going to identify which spaces I'm going to allocate to which colours. So I'm going to draw a black line there, a line there. Just drawing the outline of the little scarf / belt. And drawing the little space which is like a little arch where we're going to have the white breast of the penguin. And where I shall probably put the eyes. Okay, so we've just got that marked out, and that will be quite helpful to us now. We could actually remove that and begin to think about the process. Now, the penguin is mostly black. It's got a white breast there and a little bit of colour there. Now, I find that once I get the eyes on and the nose, that I've got a bit of a structure framework from which I can sort of gravitate from. And actually, it's a lot easier if you get the middle parts done first. I'm going to pour some PVA into the pot. Do find these bags a little bit tricky to open, and what you have to do, I think it's probably the hardest part, is either put a pencil between the two sides or a pair of tweezers so that you can open that up. And I'm going to put some of the PVA in the pot. I don't need all of it in there. And the reason I'm not going to put all of it in there is it might dry out before I get done. I might want to leave some more for tomorrow. So I've got a few spreaders full, glue spreaders full. Okay. You might wish to just have some kitchen roll available. There's no cutting of this glass, and furthermore, this glass is not sharp. The edges have been shaped for you in advance. So I'm just going to put some glue on this glue spreader, and you can either pick these up by hand. Some people prefer to use their hands. Some tweezers, and you can just put these in place here like so, and then press them down. Okay, now this here is white opal glass that's been cut to size, and then I have applied some black vitreous glass enamel to the surface ahead of time. And if you were in one of my workshops, I would show you how to do it. But it is a bit fiddly, and I'm not convinced it will travel well. So I'm leaving that off. Next step, I'm going to put the carrot on. Now, this piece of white paper is really handy because quite soon I'm going to apply the frit, and I'll be shaking and sprinkling and moving it about, and I'd like to catch all of the waste bits and put them back, because the wonderful thing about glass is that there's no such thing about as waste. So there we have it. We have the nose and eyes. So I think I'm going to begin at the top, and I'm going to have use this blue glass. It's called frit because it's tiny little pieces of glass. They have been treated, and so they're not sharp and they are clean. And what I've done is I've put two or three types of glass colour in there, so that we've got quite a tonal range of blue. So I've just sort of done a bit of material selection, and hopefully you can see that. I have cleaned my hands. I've been doing some painting today, and I've been using a paint called gouache, and although it's water-based, it doesn't seem to want to come off, even though I got the paint on my hands. There we go. So I'm just going to sprinkle this glass on. If you like, you can use some tweezers if you're that sort of nature. I find using tweezers is quite nice further along the process, when I just want to move one or two things around. Another tool that's quite nice to use and quite available to most people is the pencil. It's just a nice whip to hold. Okay, so I'm going to let that set up, and by saying that I mean I'm going to let that adhere and become firm on there. And I might, and this is the artist in me, the individual part coming out, decide to put just a little bit more on top once it's dried. And if I did, I think I will choose some of the darker tones. Now you can see how I'm being quite particular about where these pieces of coloured frit belong. So you can be quite articulate, and the pencil is your friend in this process. And it's quite nice that the PVA takes sort of a little while to dry, because you have an opportunity to do a bit of moving around. Okay, so I think we're doing good. I'm sort of very inspired by Jack's. It's a lovely piece, Jack. Right, I'm going to stop there. These pieces can be placed back in the glass bag. And if you return this glass to me, oops, along with your piece for the kiln firing. It is a great help because the materials will be used, and it just is a big help in keeping, or making glass affordable really, keeping costs down so that lots of people can do glass making, which is what I like. Okay, so I think I'm going to I said I was going to make the penguin, but I'm copying the snowman, so I'd better carry on copying the snowman. So I'm going to add some white. It's quite typical of me to get things muddled up. I haven't decided quite on the angle of that. I think I'm going to flip it over. I think that's how I want it. That's how I see it. I'm a fussy individual. So I'm just going to get a bit more glue on there. And adhere that to the surface. Just need to hold it a moment in place. Okay, super. So now I'm going to apply just enough glue to the surface around what will be the snowman or the snow person's face. I don't know what I should be saying. The snow creature. The snow woman? Who knows? There we go. And just see some blue fruit there, so I'm going to move it out. Well, you don't have to, but I'm just very fastidious about these things. There's only so many things you can choose in life, and choosing where I put my glass doesn't seem to bother anyone, so I'll carry on doing that, being particular. Okay, so I'm just going to sprinkle that glass where I've applied the glue. Now, it's really up to you how much you put on. Some people like to sort of fill it up so it's quite a dense, richly textured surface. And that works when you're not mixing the colours too much. And some people prefer to have a bit of space around the frit so that the transparent glass can be seen as well. And that's, if it wasn't Christmas, that would be my preference. But because it is Christmas, and Christmas is about abundance and breaking the rules a little bit, I'm going to put quite a bit more than I would normally put on. I think this, particularly these creatures, deserve it, are deserving of this rich texture. Okay, so if you don't get it all where you want it first time round, my suggestion is that you let that layer dry, and then you come back and you fill the gaps. It's sort of, you identify the snags, and then you refine. And when I say come back, you can come back another day. Well, when these are done, when you've completed your glass collage designs, that's what it is. It's a collage with glass materials. Bring it back to me, drop it off in the porch, and I will pop it in the kiln. Between now and Christmas, I am firing the kiln approximately twice a week. I might do more if need be. I don't think I will have to, but I'd like everybody to have what they need. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. I've identified what I need to go back and do. I've got a bit of space over here, so I will work on that once it's dried. I'm filling that gap. Right, I'm going to go back to the blue. Actually, I think I'm going to have a bit more white. I just want a bit of a curve. So you can almost draw with the PVA. You can draw, but you don't have to be good at drawing. Traditional drawing. Yeah. So I just noticed that Jack had a wonderful sort of belly curve, an abundant belly curve, and that's nice to see at Christmas, isn't it? There we go, and I'm just pushing it out a bit, and that gets that natural curve as well. So I should tidy up in between, so I will. Two bits of blue there, put that on, and that on. And scoop it back. Just get rid of that blue. Super. Right, back to the blue again. So again, a little bit of blue belt. Now you can see that I've sort of adapted the design. I haven't stuck rigidly to it. And that's what we do in art and design. You know, we constantly develop, we're constantly improving. We don't say, well, just because I drew it and I've got to stick to it, even though I can think of something better now, or I can see how to improve it. It's your piece of art, and you own the decisions on it. You can have an opinion about it. Okay, that's quite super. Now this blue, I've put some very, very fine frit in there. That is as fine as granulated sugar, and that's turquoise. And it's quite nice to have that fine stuff in there because it will sort of fill the gaps. And there's also a stripy glass in there, and it's called Caribbean Blue. And I quite uplifting. Cheers me up a bit. Okay, so I'm putting that back. Oh no, I'm not. I tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to do this next bit, which is the sort of tail of the scarf slash belt. It's like a scarf wrapped around a snow creature's belly. So I'm just going to draw a line there with the glue and another line there. It will spread out just a little bit, and that's okay as long as you allow for it. And let's get this on. Now, some of you might prefer to sort of transform this little bag into a piping bag and just show you how you can do it. The only trouble is I always forget that I've done this, and then afterwards I end up dropping the frit all over the floor and have to hoover it up quick before the dog comes in. So it comes with a caution, but it is quite a nice way of applying the materials. Let's see, what do you do with that bag now? I'll let you work that one out. And I'm just moving it around a little bit, making it go where I want it to go. And it's nice having this piece of paper underneath because, as you could just see, you can just do that type of activity. And we're nearly there. Super. Right, and we are back on the white. I think just to expedite things, we'll pretend that I cleaned up. We'll clean my spreader and a little piece of glue, small amount of glue here. Get that blue back in place. And some white on. When you've put it down, you can tamp it a little. Like so, and you can use a point to refine where it goes. I'm just going to put a little bit here. I have to be quite precise in this little triangle. There we go. Now, one of the things I'm going to do with this, just to make it a bit special for my young ones, is I'm going to personalise it by writing the date on the back and the name of the intended recipient on it. And I'm going to do that with vitreous glass enamels. Now, if you were to order one of these and you would like something personalised, a sentiment or a name on that, I can do that. We just need to have a chat about that and come to some key decisions about that. We do have a bit of a tradition in our little family of having a new special Christmas ornament each year. Therefore, our tree is rather eclectic, and I think it's quite good to put the names on the articles. Due to sort of potential sibling rivalries, and it's just something to remember in later years. I think this year could be a good year to include a little sentiment in particular, or particularly. Okay, so I've enjoyed that. I am going to let it set up a little bit, and then once it has hardened, it will go into the well, I'm going to check it over. There are some spaces that I need to refine. I've got a little gap there. I've got some two little bits of blue that I'll remove there, and I might just add a little bit more white glass to the just on top of the surface and not tamp it down, so that it catches the light a little bit more and adds that additional sparkle. You want to ensure that you have glass in the corners, so that when it's held up, the piece is quite graphic. So I'm not going to tip it up all the way. I will move it closer. There we go. So I think I need some dark blue down there and there. It's just a little bit light there. But apart from that, I think we're good to go. So it will go in the kiln. It takes about 18 hours in the kiln to fire. So I do put several in at once. And then when it's ready, I let you know, and you come and pick it up from the porch or the doorstep or the wall, whatever works at the minute. I can post, they are quite lightweight, so I can post these things out in very fine letterbox size boxes. So if you have any inquiries, if you'd like one of these kits, they're reasonably priced, just let me know by private messaging me on Facebook, and we'll get you sorted out. Okay, thank you so much for listening and watching, and have a good week. Bye bye.